What's up, guys? It's Dan from Coin Bureau Trading. Today, I'm going to give you guys an update about the altcoin rally I was talking about yesterday and when we could see a pullback. Spoiler alert, I think we could see a pullback sometime later this month. I'll explain why in just a second. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping that notification bell. Before we get started, do keep in mind that nothing in this video is financial advice. It's just my personal analysis of the crypto market. Your analysis could be different, and if it is, that's awesome, because the more difference of opinion that we have, the better traders and the better investors we're all going to become. So I want to start right off, guys, by just, clarifying what I mean by altcoin rally and altcoin season when I was mentioning yesterday, just so we're all on the same page. So when I'm talking about an altcoin rally, what I'm talking about here is basically a break above this resistance line here on others, which is, of course, basically a good proxy for altcoins, basically all the altcoins outside of the top 10. Once we see others break above this level, which is literally happening as we speak. So again, there's been no invalidation, no, everything looks on track. Like, it looks like the altcoin rally is going to happen within the next day or so, and that we should see a break above this level, and then going into the end of the month, basically a melt up close to this long-term resistance trend line, which you can see goes back many years. We should see altcoins rally back up to this resistance trend line somewhere around 360 billion in terms of others. And once we get to that level, that's when people are really going to start feeling good. Most altcoins will kind of be back around a break-even range. Not all of them, but most of them. And that's when people will start thinking, okay, yeah, I can see like something's going to, something's going on, something's going to happen, right, in terms of altcoins. And then, of course, altcoin season is when we get another kind of like second leg higher. And I believe that's going to start probably sometime in early August and last into mid-September or maybe even mid-October. But again, we'll take things one step at a time. Don't pay too much attention to this box here. Don't think that I'm saying that that others is going to top at like 460 billion or whatever. This is just for illustrative purposes only. What I'm talking about now in terms of, altcoin rally that I'm talking about, altcoins are going to explode, all that stuff I mentioned yesterday. I'm referring specifically to a break above this resistance trend line somewhere around 280 billion, which is currently in play, currently happening right now on others, and is probably going to result in a melt up going into the end of the month. And of course, the Genius Act will be the catalyst for that. But just one quick thing, because I'm sure I'll get a couple comments of people saying, oh, like, it's just another, a dead cat bounce. There's going to be a crash. It's a bull trap, whatever, pick your narrative. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, if you look at the previous times that the total crypto market cap broke above its long-term resistance trend line, it would basically just melt up only for about 2 months. That's what we saw in early 2024. It's what we saw in late 2024. And as you guys can see, the total crypto market cap is breaking above this resistance trend line somewhere around 3.6 trillion and is now in the process of melting up. And when you combine that with the fact that Bitcoin dominance is collapsing exactly like I expected yesterday, I even noted when we were around this resistance trend line yesterday, I think around 63.5% or 0.6%. Now we're down a whole other percentage point, and I expect Bitcoin dominance to continue collapsing and until it hits somewhere around 50% or just under 50%. The reason why this is important is that when you have a rising total crypto market cap and a falling Bitcoin dominance, then obviously that tells you that most of the gains in the market cap is not going to be coming from Bitcoin, but from altcoins, which is basically the definition of an altcoin season. Anyways, back to the catalyst. So in case you guys missed it, yesterday the House basically passed a procedural vote to agree to vote on the bills. I know it's a little bit confusing. Basically, they voted to, they agreed to vote, or sorry, they voted to agree on voting on like 3 different crypto bills. Super confusing. Key takeaway being that basically later today we should be getting the vote on the Genius Act, which is interesting because, of course, that's what was originally reported by media outlets, is that the Genius Act would be voted on Thursday morning. It was weird that there was like some vote or whatever, but I guess that was just for the procedural one. Anyways, point being is that we're going to get a vote on the Genius Act later today. This was even said by Trump. He said Genius Act will be passed tomorrow, spoke to all the holdouts today. And if you actually see this reporting from Eleanor Terrett, super interesting reporting here, basically explaining that the reason why the procedural vote didn't pass initially was because there were 12 Republicans who wanted more anti-CBDC language basically included in these bills. But they basically said, hey, we'll include this language in the Clarity Act, so then that way the Genius Act has an easier time passing, basically. So it's kind of like a win. Everyone gets what they want, and now it looks like the Genius Act is poised to pass. Once that happens, again, like, that's just, you could say, like the first part of the 2-part equation. I think that the Genius Act passing will, again, like trigger this altcoin rally that lasts into the end of the month. But the altcoin season, I think, will be triggered by announcements that come as a result of the SEC's SEC's exemptive relief order, exemptive relief framework, which I believe will also probably happen sometime by the end of this month, latest early next month. You can refer to my previous videos for more info there if you're confused. Now, I guess heading in towards the end of the month, this is where things get really interesting. So in case those of you who I guess have or haven't been keeping up with the channel, you might know that there's some really interesting dynamics, you could say, around like Bitcoin cycles. Let's just keep it let's just keep it simple without taking out the tinfoil hats. Basically, the last time we saw trend changes in Bitcoin's price, you could see that these trend changes would last for around 11 days. So back in May, we saw kind of like a melt up. Back in June, we saw a meltdown, and now we're in the process of seeing a melt up, basically from this breakout level. And what that kind of foreshadows is that we're going to see Bitcoin probably topping somewhere around July 20th, 21st. This is a target that Bob Lucas and many traders are watching as well. How high will Bitcoin go? I don't know. Maybe it'll be 125,000, maybe 130,000, something like that over the next few days, which would coincide again with a huge kind of like broad crypto market rally, a huge rally in altcoins and everything. But the interesting thing is like what comes after that, right? Because you can see last time there was an uptrend. As soon as that uptrend ends, then we kind of get like a retracement, and then we kind of like reset for the next move, if that makes any sense. And what's really interesting is I've been following this guy named Christian Chifoy recently. Apologies if I'm butchering that pronunciation, but it's really interesting because he's also looking at similar cycles to Bob Lucas and to what I'm looking at, and he actually believes that July 20th is when we're actually going to see the start of a massive rally, which is interesting because I think based on Bob Lucas's analysis, based on my own analysis, I think the chances of us getting a pullback sometime later this month, I think that's like higher likelihood of that happening, let's say sometime later next week. That's again, we get this altcoin rally, let's say, I don't know, up until late, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, July 23rd or 24th. I'm not saying exactly, but imagine we just get an altcoin rally, and then to get a rejection from this key level here, somewhere around 360 billion, to get a rejection and a little bit of chop for like a week or two before moving higher makes perfect sense to me in terms of others, in terms of altcoins. Same idea for Bitcoin. Once it gets up to around 130,000 or around that range, I'm sure a lot of people will think that Bitcoin is top. They'll probably be taking profits. There'll be a little bit of chop. Some of you guys might know that we still need to kind of fill that CME gap around 114,000. So it wouldn't be surprising to see a rally up for Bitcoin, I don't know, up to around, let's say, 125, 130,000. Then you get like a kind of like a decline for a couple of weeks, filling that CME gap at around 114,000, and then blasting off to the cycle top, which I believe is going to happen sometime in early September. And I believe that the cycle top for altcoins will be hit sometime again in either mid-September or mid-October. Who knows? It's a little bit too hard to say this early on. But again, the point being is that over the next few days, things are looking really good. Everything on the charts is looking great. Looks like everything's going to be going higher over the next few days. But the question is, what happens later next week, later this month? It looks like we could get a pullback. Again, we'll have to play things by ear, but just if recent history is any indication, then expect, again, a big rally in altcoins, probably another leg higher in Bitcoin, then a little bit of chop and grind around like these like resistance levels as altcoins outperform, and then a full-blown altcoin season starting sometime probably in early August. But who knows? Maybe it'll, maybe come July 20th, we'll just start going up only and never turn back. That's always a possibility. So make sure you're positioned accordingly, because you never know how aggressive, or I guess those of you who've been around will know how aggressive that final phase of the cycle can be, especially with so many people off sides. Like almost no one's holding altcoins. Everyone's all in Bitcoin or mostly in Bitcoin. And, once you see this Genius Act pass and you start to see all these announcements coming out, I think, there's going to be a lot of FOMO and a lot of existing retail investors aping back in, and new retail investors finally arriving with all the announcements, all the attention and everything. But anyways, guys, if you did make it this far, then do take a second to check out the Coin Bureau deals page. We were using Binance here to analyze Bitcoin. In case you didn't notice, we have a 20% trading fee discount and up to $600 of bonuses. It's the biggest discount that you can get. It's available exclusively through the Coin Bureau. To take advantage of this deal, just check out the link in the description or in the comments. It'll take you to a page that looks like this. It takes 2 seconds to sign up. If you're not able to use Binance for whatever reason, then do check out the other exchange deals we have in the deals page. We also have deals on literally like trading bots and wallets, and even Aaron's trading courses here. And all these things are completely free. When you use these links, we get kind of like a cut of the fees. The exchange or product or service gets a new user, and you get a discount. You get a trading fee discount. It's a win-win-win for everyone, especially during market conditions like these. So do check out those links using the link down in the description. Anyways, guys, if you did make it this far and you did find the information helpful, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ping that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.